Have you ever had one of those moments? A realization that's so powerful, it just completely changes everything about how you see your own work? For tennis coach Adam Blitcher, that moment wasn't some big win. It was actually a moment of defeat. And this isn't just a story about tennis. It's about a really tough but ultimately game-changing journey to understand what truly makes a great coach great.
And it all starts right here, with this incredibly honest and raw admission. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's that very feeling that kicked off a years-long search for the one thing that was holding him back.
All right, so let's set the scene. It's the summer of 2012. Our author, a young coach from a pretty small tennis nation, is down in southern Spain. He's there to watch, to learn, to soak it all in. What he did not expect was to feel completely and utterly exposed.
Now, this wasn't about professional jealousy or anything like that. It was just this humbling, unavoidable fact. Another coach was getting way better results with the exact same players. And that fact sparked a really powerful sense of curiosity.
And this was the big question that started the whole thing. While he was visiting the Soto Tennis Academy, he watched its leader, Dan Kiernan, and saw something he just couldn't replicate. The players, they listened closer, they were more focused. Something was fundamentally different, but what was it?
So the more he watched, the more this huge contrast just became crystal clear. It wasn't really about the drills or the strategy, it was all in the delivery. You could see the difference in pretty much every single interaction they had.
Okay, so during practice, our author fell into a trap that, let's be honest, a lot of us do. He confused saying more with helping more. He'd give these long, well-meaning explanations, trying to cover every single little detail. Dan, on the other hand, totally different. He was shorter, sharper. He'd focus on one specific thing. And if he did say more, he'd wrap it up in a story that just made the lesson stick.
And this difference got even more obvious before matches. Our author would overload his players with this long checklist of technical, tactical, and mental reminders. I mean, he was trying to help, but he was really just creating a ton of confusion. And Dan? Nope. A quick chat. A few calm words. He said less, but his impact was so much bigger.
But this right here, this might be the most important difference of all. After a match, our author would launch into a 30-minute breakdown of everything that could have gone better. And yeah, it was all true and relevant, but it often just drained the player's confidence. Dan, though, he managed to pull a lesson out of every match, win or lose. His players always left the conversation feeling clearer, not heavier.
So here's the kicker. He knew tennis. He knew the technique, the tactics, all the physical stuff, but that knowledge just wasn't getting through. His communication was actually the barrier, and it was slowing his players' development down. And that realization, well, it hurt.
That summer in Spain didn't just hand him all the answers. Instead, it gave him something way more valuable, a much sharper, more focused question that would really shape everything he did from that point on.
He realized the solution wasn't going to be the usual stuff coaches look for. It wasn't about finding more drills or some secret gadget or a revolutionary new training system. The key was hiding somewhere else entirely.
And there it is. The question got refined. It shifted from the what of coaching, the technical stuff, and started to zero in on the how. What was the method? What was the secret sauce that made coaches like Dan so incredibly effective?
Answering that new question, well, it turned into a multi-year obsession. He went on this deep dive, completely determined to figure out what that missing multiplier of knowledge really was.
And I mean, his journey was intense. He was going to global conferences, he kept up his academic studies in sports science, and all the while he was coaching national teams. Then in 2015, he launched a podcast, which ended up being a huge piece of the puzzle, letting him learn directly from the best minds in the game.
And through that podcast, he basically built his own personal masterclass, interviewing over 100 of the world's most respected tennis coaches. He dug into all kinds of different philosophies and pathways, always looking for that common thread of excellence.
And then came the turning point. His personal quest suddenly became a professional one. He was asked to completely redesign how Denmark taught its highest-level coaches. So now, he didn't just want the answer for himself. He needed a clear, teachable framework for everybody else. The pressure was definitely on.
So after all those years of studying, traveling, interviewing, and coaching, the answer finally became clear. It was the culmination of that entire journey that started with nothing more than a bruised ego in a small apartment in Spain.
The answer, and the solution he ultimately created, was winning words. And it just confirmed what he had started to realize all those years ago.
the key to unlocking a player's potential. It wasn't found in any of the conventional coaching tools.
Yep, it was that simple and that complicated. The single biggest difference between a good coach and a truly great coach wasn't what they knew, but how they communicated what they knew. It was the multiplier for absolutely everything else.
And that leaves all of us with a really powerful question that goes way beyond a tennis court. In any field, whether you're a leader, a teacher, a parent, how much talent and potential do we accidentally leave on the table just because we haven't found the right words yet?